Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum, a fast-acting alternative to energy drinks, 5 times faster without filling up on liquids. I'm Jeremy Elliott, joined by Ryan Hand. Ryan, it's been a busy day.
Yeah, I know it's been busy for me.
No. For me, too.
Oh, sorry.
Well, actually yesterday, because I had to write everything.
Wait, you got out of bed before 10?
No, I get out of bed before 10 a lot. You'd be surprised.
Oh, okay.
You didn't call me last week. You said you were going to call me when you woke up in the morning. I was ready.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. All right. Fair. I'll call you tomorrow morning. I guarantee you won't be up when I call you.
No, I won't be. Not tomorrow. Although I do have a meeting tomorrow that I got to take. So
is it at like 5 in the morning?
No.
Okay, then you won't be ready.
Well, it was a busy day yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Writing stories. Obviously, we released on SprintCarUnlimited.com today. CJB Motorsports has made a decision. They are hiring Brent Marks, and they're going to run a pick-and-choose schedule.
Wow.
And obviously, that's kind of sent some shockwaves, so to speak, through the racing world. I don't think many people saw Brent Marks in that car. Wasn't too long ago, a week or two, that Brent Marks said he was going to be back on the Outlaw Tour, and he got the call, and obviously he accepted this job at CJB. What do you think that means, first off, for Brent Marks?
I think it's great for Brent because Brent was trying to do it all. I mean, he had, he did have crew guys, but I mean, he had to do a lot of work. He had to do not all. A lot of it's mental, but I mean,
right.
Like, there's still physical work to do, but I mean, he had to do a lot more mental work than most drivers do. Trying to run a team, trying to get up and down the road. I'm sure he did a lot of logistical things. I think his plate was pretty full, and I think this can only help him.
I agree. Brent had to drive the rig, set up the car, race, go to the car wash. I mean, clean the rig like in between races, dust. You always, people forget that. There's a lot of things that go into running a team, and he kind of had to do everything. Plus, he was the shot caller.
Yeah,
he was making decisions.
I mean, I think what he's going to have is he's just going to have a different kind of pressure now. I mean,
correct.
Before the pressure was, hey, we got to get this thing up and down the road and perform and whatever. But he was performing for himself. Now he's going to be performing for someone else, probably for the first time in his career. So I think this is going to be a different style pressure, but I honestly think he's ready for it. This didn't totally blow me away. I know, talking to you, we kind of know things, whatever, a little bit before most people do, but this one did not shock me. I know there's kind of a chemistry there between Brent and that team a little bit, So now this didn't blow me away. This wasn't like an oh my God. I think what blew me away more than anything is that they're not going to be running the Outlaw deal.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. For Brent, I think he's going to be able to focus on just driving now. I'm anxious to see how he matures even more as a driver. Just having somebody like Barry Jackson in the pit area who can watch the racetrack, relay information to Brent. Brent can process it. And also Brent coming in off the track and giving information to Barry. The give and take with him. And he's focused on one thing. He can focus on driving, all the other stuff. Going to be some pressure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
but I don't think I think it's Brent's okay with that because these are things he can control.
Yeah.
Performance in the car.
I think one of the big things that's going to help Brent, and we've talked to Brent about it numerous times, and he's kind of...
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, but Barry's cars are usually right up there in time trials. So, Brent, I can't even state, I think Brent's an excellent racer. Like, he races really good.
Yeah.
He wins the KSE Hard Charger every year with the Outlaws. But there's 2 reasons for it. 1, he passes a lot of cars. 2, he penalizes himself to pass a lot of cars because he doesn't time trial well. So this could be, if these guys can get timed into the front row of a heat, Brent Marks is going to win more than 2 or 3 races in a year. Yeah,
I think so too. And I think for CJB, Marks was a good choice, especially with what they want to do. I think Brent, like you said, he can pass cars.
Absolutely.
Barry, when him and I talked about that was one of the first things he brought up. Brent can pass cars. I think Brent's age is something that was important as well. I'm hearing a lot lately. I talked to Brian Monteith about it, and he admitted, when you're older, you have kind of these notions and these ways of doing things and how the car should feel. And the younger guys don't. And that's why you see a lot of younger guys doing well on these tires and this package.
Yeah.
It's no secret, at least it isn't now. Brent talked to CJB last year before they hired Shane Stewart. And I think Barry, that relationship, it just circled.
Yeah.
And I think Barry wanted somebody younger.
And I truly feel like Brent's earned this. I really do. I feel like he's earned it. I feel like he's a good racer. And I think this is going to be positive. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. And the other thing is, you said about him earning it, and some may disagree with that, because they feel, 4 wins in 2 years and whatever. Look, he still did the general progression. He went out on his own, got sponsors, moved up the ladder, paid his dues. Last year, he had a bust-out year on the Outlaw Tour. Not 2018. 3 wins. Demolished him at Wilmot. Barry Jackson talked about that. And was pretty good at Eldora, And then this year, struggled a little bit, but was very impressive at the Kings Royal. Wins the National Open. And you're right. The progression, now he gets his shot. So I think it's good for both Brent and for CJB. Part of this story, we put out a second story a little later, about 3 hours later. Barry Jackson kind of spearheaded this decision not to run with the World of Outlaws. And it has people, I think, a little flustered because now the Outlaws have lost 3 full-time cars. They lost Ian Madsen, Brent Marks, and the 5 car, the CJB car, full-time. Does this concern you?
Yeah, it is a little concerning. Absolutely. I don't know that we, as in us in Pennsylvania, are going to see a big issue with it. But I think when you go to Montana and those tracks out that way, where last year they had 18 cars, well, now you're looking at 15. It's hard to put on it. Or when you had 15, now you're looking at 12.
I guarantee you Barry isn't going to be there.
Yeah, no.
The car isn't going to be there.
No. But I think it should be a little concerning for the Outlaws. Now, the same thing always happens here too. We always say, we're running out of cars, and cars show up. There'll be someone's going to fill it in. But this is 2 pretty good quality teams here. Like CJB's been in the top 5 in points probably the last,
except for this year.
The last probably 8 years. I'm just guessing.
They have
throwing out a number.
5. They have 5 third place finishes.
Yeah, top 3
points between Paul McMahon and David Grau.
Yeah. So that's
significant.
That's a pretty big team to lose for the Outlaws.
Now these are 3 top 10 teams from last year that are gone. However, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit.
Okay.
They're going to run the schedule for CJB is going to be 50, 52 World of Outlaw races, 23 to 25 All-Star races, 10 to 15 miscellaneous shows, and a lot of that I think is going to be at Pennsylvania. I think they're going to be at Port Royal 8 times. And Barry really said a lot of nice things about Port Royal, and he wants to be there with the effort they're putting in up there. But they're still going to be at 50 Outlaw shows. Ian Madsen's still going to be at 50 Outlaw shows.
Yeah, no,
You're kind of, they're going to be there. You just don't know when. And you're right. When you're in Billings, Montana, and you're heading out to the second, out to Skagit and in Oregon and stuff, if that's where they end up the second half of the year,
right?
I think that's where it'll be a problem.
It's going to be thin.
I think, and I agree. I think that's where it's going to be a problem. And, I think it's going to be interesting.
I don't know if you can run 3 rounds of heat races. I know you can run 2.
Oh, and that's your pet peeve,
That
too.
is my pet peeve.
Yeah, you don't like 2 heat races. Oh, God. Yeah. You're going to be feisty those weeks on the show. But I think, what are your thoughts? And this is another topic that's come up, and I'm going to be writing about this kind of in the coming days, maybe release it on Thanksgiving if I'm not stuffing my face.
You'll be stuffing your face.
I will.
It's the only time you get to eat. You got to buy me food too much.
I know tonight, by the way, he gets an Outback. Now, Outback stay. I'm paying off.
Hey, a friend of mine said, it would have been awesome in the Thanksgiving week if we would have got like Outback delivered, and I'd be sitting here eating this huge steak, and you'd be watching me,
and I'd be eating. I'd be looking at my paper.
You didn't win shit, so
Oh,
he said that would be awesome. And I'm like, you know what? It would be.
Next year, we just got to get somebody to make a spread, and we just feast in here.
Yeah.
Because next year you won't beat me, but
right.
I'm telling you, it won't happen.
Okay.
But you get Outback tonight, and it pains me. But that being said, I'm going to be writing about this. I don't think it kills the Outlaws. And I think in a year or two, you'll see Aaron Reitzel out there. I think you'll see it's almost like a commuter series. And in Pennsylvania and at Knoxville and in California, they get enough cars. Yeah. However, I think this leads into another question. Running the Outlaws versus running a pick and choose schedule. Where do you come out on that?
I mean, I don't know the numbers on the platinum membership stuff.
Let me give you the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but
yeah,
if you want to divulge the numbers, go ahead.
Well, you get tow money, and you get a certain amount of tow money for each show. However, if you're in the same place 2 days,
mm-hmm. like
Williams Grove, you get tow money for Friday,
mm-hmm.
and Saturday your tow money's half.
Okay,
because you're already there.
You're already there.
Okay, then and it's like I think it's top 5 in points. I think it's like $500 something like that, which is good.
That's great.
And you get $800 to start most nights,
and you got I think provisionals as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
that's
that's about $1,300. And you get your point money.
Yep.
Top 5 in points. Fifth gets $45,000. Okay, now I don't know about you. None of those cars that aren't coming back are going to win the points, finish second, or finish third.
No,
not my mind.
I agree.
In fact, I'm going to say now Donnie Scott's going to win by triple digits.
Oh boy.
Oh, by the way, I'm not the only one who thinks that.
All right.
I've talked to a couple guys who are out there. They expect an onslaught next year, which I'm not betting against them. Are you?
No.
Okay. So when Barry put this schedule together, and I talked to Barry about it, with the 10 or 15 shows they're going to run, they need to average $3,000 or a little less to make up all that money, because they're going to get a partial tow money deal. And also just the point money, and I figured fifth. And I don't know if they'd finish fifth. I don't know that.
I think they had a legitimate shot.
They have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Gravel's going to slip back because he's part-time, and
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to get in the car with him.
No, I think
it's Donnie, Sweet, Darren Pittman, Logan Schuchart, and I think fifth's up for grabs. So I think that's fair.
No, I think it's fair.
I think that's fair.
Honestly, I think they could go as high as fourth. I'll be honest with you. They could a full season.
Maybe
they could battle with Logan.
Okay, so that's 45 and 50,000.
Yep.
Okay,
it's a good chunk of change.
It's a good chunk of change. Does Brent Marks run well at Port Royal?
Absolutely.
Won the Tuscarora 50, didn't he?
He swept one of the weekends there. It was crazy.
And really swept all the fair races.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He won everything.
So that thing pays 50,000.
Yeah, that'll take care of a lot of stuff.
Takes care of it.
Barry believes this year.
Yeah, Barry believes he can go hit these other shows. He's coming to Speed Week.
Yeah.
They're going to go to Jackson. He's going to run the Jackson Nationals, and they're coming back.
You can get a ride.
I might get a ride.
See that?
I might get a ride.
I'm always looking out for your money because it could be my food.
I like that. Thank you. Because now I'm going to miss the first three. I'm going to have to get you to cover the Speed Week shows for me.
Wow.
So you and Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Bill's back this week,
it.
by the way. Bill was hurting so bad from his new job last week.
Lord.
His back. Oh, my shoulders. Oh, woe is me. He couldn't even come and push a button.
It's serious. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. Is he like training for a triathlon now or something, or what? What's his new job?
I don't know. They started.
Oh.
He started lifting weights. They started him with balloons. I mean, it's just
helium filled.
I didn't understand. And then this week he texts me, goes, "I'm good to go this week."
Not
and I said, "You feel okay?" I didn't know if he was sore, or maybe they had him moving pencils. I don't know, but he was all so we were on our own. But no, so this goes back to, I mean, that money you can make up. By the way, you're not going to be sitting in a hotel room, which is another thing Barry had a problem with.
No, I equate this sort of to, when I worked at Zemco for a while, we raced full time, week in, week out, 2 or 3 times a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of went to what people referred to as the Zemco schedule, where you just ran time trial shows with like Stevie Smith or a guy like Jeff Shepard, something like that. And honestly, it was great. And you get some of your weekends back. You get some stuff that you've kind of been missing for a while. Now, if you're young and eager, and I'm sure Brent's probably gonna want to run this thing like 10 times a week,
probably.
But
especially if they're going well.
Yeah. But I don't know that there's anything wrong with a pick and choose schedule right now. There's too many. You miss too many good races being stuck somewhere in another part of the country where, there's a 50,000 to win race back here. There's something, there's a good week of all-star races somewhere in Ohio that, you'd be competitive at, or whatever, speed week here,
Mm-hmm.
I think teams that can, there's certain teams that I think the tow money is very needed and strategic in their logistical planning and their deal to run the Outlaws, which is fine. That's great. But I think teams that can stand alone and maybe you can probably make more money at the end of the season this way.
By the way, I think late model racing is very healthy, and you can avoid just looking at the shows. You can avoid Lucas Oil and World of Outlaw shows and still make a living in a late model. I think sprint car racing needs to get there. Now, by the way, this is nothing against the Outlaws.
No.
It's a hard life. I know some people don't think it is. It's not. It's hard in different ways.
It's a hard life.
It's the travel.
Yeah.
It's the
you give
boredom.
Up a lot of stuff.
It's the boredom.
Yeah.
You're on the road for 30 weeks a year.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if you have a rain out
and you have a family, if you're single, then it's not as bad. But if you have a family, that's where it starts to become.
I think if you're single and young, I think the hardest part is managing your liver.
It might be it.
Yeah.
It might be it.
Yeah. But, I mean, no, I think the Outlaws is grueling. I really do. I believe it is.
And I have all this respect in the world for them.
Absolutely.
But I get it. And I think CJB is making a great call here with not only their driver selection, also with the schedule they're running.
Yeah, and the Outlaws, like you said, they're not going to be hurting because they're going to get
it's a commuter series
back for 50 races a year, and it's still the toughest series and still the best paying series. And hey, it is what it is.
Hey, there's a reason Jackson Nationals is an Outlaw show and it's 100,000 to win. So you can't sneeze at that. But that's going to wrap up Segment 1, SprintCarLimited.com podcast. We'll be back in Segment 2. We're going to talk more pay-per-view, this time with the cushions in Marvuglio. Stay tuned. Welcome to Segment 2, SprintCarLimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. We're joined on the phone by Ian Marvuglio, who's going to talk to us about pay-per-view free links, pay-per-view, and everything that is streaming. Ian, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. It was a good day at SprintCarLimited.com with all the CJB stuff, so I can't complain.
No, I figured you guys are doing quite well today with some news.
Well, news never hurts, but we wanted to kind of get you on the show to talk about the pay-per-views, because we talked about pay-per-view free links last week, and it seemed to generate quite a stir, so we wanted to talk to you. I mean, obviously, you guys do a great job, at Baps Motor Speedway. We're at Knoxville for 10 plus years or whatever it was, and, actually, we're kind of the first guys in this pay-per-view game. First, before we get into the free links, what is your overall opinion of how pay-per-views changed and kind of where it's going?
Well, I mean, they've changed obviously dramatically. I mean, when we first got involved, which was back in 2007, as I date myself, it was, very limited, what you could do out there. It wasn't bandwidth. People had terrible connections at their home in their homes, and no one was streaming on mobile devices. So the evolution as bandwidth started kicking up, and then the cell phones started getting better, the pay-per-view started to really grab a little bit of a hold, and we all kind of started making our own little mark. Obviously, more players started coming into the game. But I'd say the biggest transition we've seen is, going from the pay-per-view model to the subscription model. Pros, cons. I think there's arguments on both sides of the coin. But as the popularity grew, obviously more eyeballs get on it. As more eyeballs get on it, more people want to watch, and a lot of people want to see what they can get for free or what they can steal. And, first it started out with, people trying to restream stuff to Facebook and, trying to just, screen capture things and let their buddies see it. And now the evolution keeps going. So it's a little bit more sophisticated of a hack that's going on now. And, I listened to your show and watched your show last week, and you brought up how, stuff like this can hurt the industry. And, the more people do this, as money starts to get pulled from people's pockets, whether it's getting pulled from us, the providers, or getting pulled from the racetracks or series who aren't getting the same revenue shares because numbers might start to come down. You're absolutely correct. It could lead to things getting dropped and things. I don't know if it's ever going to come to an end, but it can lead to a drop off. So I think we're in a pretty transitional place right now. And I'm just one guy's opinion. I'm sure if you had, other providers on and spoke to them, everyone's going to have their own view of where things are going. But I kind of relate this almost to the stock market, or like the big .com stuff that was going on late 90s and stuff, where things got super evaluated high, and then they came back down, and you kind of found a balancing point. I think we're watching as we move from pay-per-views to this subscription model that, values just started going up. People saw, revenue sharing changing, some people with revenue sharing changing, and then people evaluating different properties and different events differently. And I think you watch this curve, and we took one approach, other people took other approaches. I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong, but I think what's going to happen is over time, someone's going to get proved out, what the best direction for this model is. Maybe it is going back to a pay-per-view. Maybe it is pure subscription, or maybe it ends up moving into a complete free model down the road, where it becomes almost like the old time television, where you just have normal advertisers and it's free to watch. And, the tracks and the providers like us generate our revenue off of marketing and advertisers.
Now, Ian, obviously you hit on the free links, and we talked about it last week. In your opinion, how big of a problem is this for tracks and a series? Is it minor, or do you see this becoming, getting close to being a big problem?
I don't think it's an epidemic. I don't think there's something. I don't think we need to. It's like raise the flag and run. But I'll be honest with you. We obviously scaled back. We didn't do as many races as we had done in the past. We took obviously a different approach this year, and but there's other guys out there that did lots of races. The series, the different providers picking up different things, and I heard about free links, earlier in the year, and then it hit us. The first one that came to my attention was late July or early August. But then again, like I said, our numbers weren't super high. I would think the other guys might have been getting hit with people stealing stuff earlier in the year. Maybe, could have been May, could have been June. But then I started hearing, as I started talking to more people, it was almost like a weekly thing. Like people saying, "Oh, I could always get this every week. I could get this." I'm like, wow, this is getting worse than I thought. And again, like I said, we weren't doing as much, so we weren't seeing it as much. But I could tell you personally, when I heard about the first link that was taken from us, it felt personal. Like this is someone stealing from me. And I just put my nose to the grindstone. It was, it took weeks. I mean, like 6 weeks of trying stuff. And first it was scouring code to find exactly where it was coming from. And then the second thing was then trying umpteen different things to lock it down. And, happily we locked our stuff down. But we're locked down now. I mean, if guys, people keep on hitting stuff, at some point someone's got to figure it out, and you have to go back and change some stuff. But to answer your question, I think it's bigger than I originally thought, and I think it's worse than I originally thought, but I don't think it's an epidemic. But I think I sure hope everyone's paying attention. Everyone that's in this industry is paying attention to this and not just, we'll deal with it later, because I think it can then get to the point where it starts to become a snowball going downhill.
So I guess my question is, I'm not very tech savvy one bit. I don't really like computers at all. I use them for about two things.
Either do I.
Yeah, right. I'm very bad at them, and I'm almost scared of them. But according to what you're saying, is you can lock this thing down. Like how come it's like not been locked down prior to this? I guess has it not been enough of a problem to look at?
I can't answer that really, in the sense that I don't know what anyone else has been trying to do or what they haven't been trying to do. Maybe some people thought, well, we're getting X number of people watching, we'll take this as, this is just an anticipated business loss. I don't know. I'm making this up. So, or they looked at it like we did and said, this is a major problem, and they've had their nose to it, and they just haven't nailed on the solution yet. I don't know what approaches everyone has been taking. I just know that when it happened here, I took it personally, like someone's taking something. But on top of that, I felt like a series has entrusted me to broadcast. Or a racetrack has entrusted me to handle a broadcast for them. And I feel like I have a responsibility to them that if something like this happens, this is bad for everyone. And they came to us, trusting that we were going to do a job. And to me, this is failing doing a job. And basically, look, the person that's actually doing the stealing, the person that went and found the door, that person, absolutely, I'm super angry with. I'm not happy. The person who gets it from that guy, I'm not happy either, but I understand it. Someone throws you a free link, you just, okay, I just got it from this guy. Again, the person actually perpetrating the crime and stealing, I got a super problem with. But I also look at it like, if I have a wallet that has a hole in it and I drop money out of it and someone picks it up, they're not the problem. The problem is I got to fix my wallet. So I looked at this the same way. Like, okay, I'm really angry at this, and I could stay angry at these people and tell them these people are ruining the industry by doing this. And there's always going to be some idiot that's going to try to do something. It's up to us. To take care of our business and what we can take care of. And if we can't, then it's up to the track or the series to move on to somebody else. That's you have a job to do. One, we're hired for multiple reasons. Some people hire providers to make extra money. Some people hire providers to get extra marketing and exposure. Some do it for both. Some do it for the social media value. There's a multitude of reasons. But if you're going to entrust someone to do something and they're dropping the ball, or they can't get something done, or something is failing along the way, it's up to, look, if a server goes down and I'm not the actual holding person of the physical server, I'm still getting yelled at because I chose a hosting company that the track or the series trusted me with, and the hosting company failed. The hosting company's not getting yelled at. I'm the one getting yelled at, and I got to fix it. And here's the same thing. The track is trusting us, and I think, when stuff goes out, it's just bad. It's bad for them. I mean, even if I'm willing to take what the loss is, it's just not a pretty picture. And I see that this is going to keep happening. And again, the level of how they're grabbing stuff is just getting a little bit more sophisticated. A couple years ago, we saw people, like I said, restreaming and then publishing it to Facebook. Either it could be something as stupid as taking a cell phone and streaming right off your computer and then pushing it out. And we developed some code that we could kill a stream midstream. Okay. And we implemented that on our website, and some of our clients' websites we implemented. And so this way, if we found someone doing that, we could kill it, where in the past you couldn't. Because if someone's watching a video, and even if you pulled their credentials, the video still plays. The only way that the site knows that the credentials have been pulled is if you refresh the page, and then it tries to grab it again and says, oh, you don't have this credential anymore, you can't watch. But if they don't refresh, they keep on watching. So we developed this code that we could kill someone, and we forced the refresh from our end. So it just bumped them right out. And so we killed a lot of people who used to try to take like the Knoxville Nationals and stuff like that. We would find guys on Facebook and kill them right away. Now, when someone brought this link thing to me, I thought it was the same thing. They said, oh, Ian, someone's watching. So I went out and I went to go, and I said, whoa, this is different. I said, this is completely different. They were grabbing information that was actually basically en route to the site. Okay. So if I live in a gated community and it's completely secure with, a security guard, and UPS is delivering to me, UPS delivers, it's completely, once it gets in the gate, it's completely secure. Well, now someone's stealing my package before it gets to my house. So when I go to block it, it's a lot harder for me to block because it hasn't even recognized it's gotten to me yet. It's en route, and someone's, peeling it off en route. So we had to come up with some pretty, interesting ways to stop that. And again, there's always security loops, and people will work around. Right now we stopped it, so we've made it more difficult. Maybe someone goes in and starts playing around and tries to bypass, our security. But now it's on our radar, and actually, my partner Brian and I have actually discussed with this research we've done. We're actually looking into if it makes sense to even look at developing an actual software product to secure this stuff that's outside of the delivery networks. That's actually our own piece of software.
I mean,
sounds pretty good.
You say you're not tech savvy. Yeah. I couldn't.
I have one question though. Is there legal consequences for that? You referred to him as the guy that opens the door. Is there legal consequences for that person, possibly, or not?
Possibly, yeah. I think it would be pretty hard to prosecute. I think I could be wrong. I haven't talked to a lawyer about it, but if you think about it, if you find the person, can you come up with a tangible figure of what that guy took from your pocket? I mean, if it's, it's not like the guy it's not like we sold 1,000 pay-per-views and the guy got into, our account and took money out. This is all happening before, a lot of the people who are watching probably would never buy the pay-per-view or the subscription anyway. They just got it for free. So is it theft? I saw some people say this is pure theft, and they're 100% right. This is theft. This is hacking. This is illegal. I don't know the law enough, and nor have I spoken to a lawyer to really get into what the ramifications could be if we actually trace back to the person. I could tell you something from my end. I'm not a lawsuit kind of a guy. I'd much rather the guy get taken care of business the old-fashioned way that we would do.
Well, people don't know you're from New York.
So I mean, to me, there's ways to handle stuff that would be better in my opinion. Because like I said, the person that's actually sitting down and doing this, it irks me really bad. Because I mean, if you think about it, it could be someone that buys a subscription to us or to someone else, and they just sit there and they're just watching the races, scouring code to find where there's a possible open door. And then when they get the open door, guess what they're going to do next? They're going to cancel their subscription. They don't need the subscription with you anymore. Or even better, how about they call up and say, "Oh, I don't like your service. I want a refund." And so now they got the link out. Now there's ways to prevent stuff. Again, like I said, this is a little bit more sophisticated, and I'm sure this is bothering everybody. I'm not going to sit there and say, none of the other guys care about this. But I definitely think something has to get done. And it's just when you start hearing stories of people, look, Jeremy, you brought up about, X amount of links floating around.
6 of them for the Hangtown. 6.
Right. I mean, but it's gotten to the point now, like it went from something I knew about to something that just seems bad, much worse now. Because now it's almost like it's not even secret anymore. I actually see people on social media, who's got a link for tonight's race? They're just blatantly asking for it. I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. I said, this is so now. There's probably people in Facebook groups just talking about free links. And so this is where we can go from a 1x, 2x, 3x problem to a 20, 30, 50x problem really quickly.
No, I agree, and for you guys now, pay-per-view I mentioned earlier has changed, and it was kind of almost like bidding wars almost at the beginning of 2019. You didn't really get involved with that. I mean, obviously you gave your bids. You guys lost Knoxville, and that was a big hit. Dirt Vision, obviously.
You think?
Yeah, I don't think you'll be sending Christmas cards to the World Racing Group.
Well, and I shouldn't say the funny thing. There's nothing funny here. But there was a time, we were really good friends with those guys and close. And I don't really think personally, any of those guys dislike us. I don't think it's personal. But what's changed really is we all got in this because we love racing, and we all got in this because we saw an opportunity. It wasn't even about look. Nobody's getting rich. I mean, no one has a Ferrari. No one's getting rich. But we saw an opportunity that I can go have a business in something I love to do every day, and that to me was the ultimate goal. And look, I started in 2007. I had a full-time job. I did not stop working my full-time job until 2012. I mean, that's how long it took before there was kind of enough money to actually pull, which is ridiculous. Most people at that point, you quit the job and this is a failure. Yeah. But we all were friends early. We all helped each other out. We all talked about, technology, and we talked, look, we've consulted with almost every single player in the industry at one point, except for we've never done consulting with Speed Shift. But, we did work with the World Racing Group. We've done work with Dirt on Dirt. We've done work we did a bunch of the Chili Bowl stuff with Racing Boys for a couple of years. I still to this day do all the back end and server work for Speed 51. Actually, when you just called, I'm working on server configurations and build out for the Snowball Derby coming up the first week of December. So this is stuff, we've pretty much worked with almost everyone at some point. And we even were the ones who developed the Eldora live streaming when they first put it together. We built that back end, and Brian and I actually did the first World 100 before Michael and Dirt on Dirt got there. We did the first one for those guys. And but again, I think what's happened is it all went from a bunch of people who love this stuff and to this is really becoming business. And things changed, when we were 07, we were a small, different site. And then in 2013, we launched the Cushion with the subscription, and we were covering a bunch of the outlaw races for On Demand. I worked with, Brian Dunlop a ton back then. And that went on for several years. And then, not Derby, but World Racing Group made the decision to, bring the outlaw content in-house. So we lost that. And then that's when stuff started to shift. Like they started to become, take and do more. And then obviously more players came into the industry. So it became more difficult. And look, Flow Racing's in Speed Shift and, all these different players are now in this. And you're right. Look, I don't want to act like we took a step back because bidding wars started because, Jeremy, you and I talked.
Yes.
We went 150,000% to hold on to Knoxville. It was very important to Brian and I. We had been there since 2008, and we loved the place, and it was more than a way to make a living. We just, it was just a very, very special, important place, and the whole evolution of how we've done stuff and what we learned to do came from growing up there and doing it. And so we knew we were in for a fight. The Knoxville Nationals ended and we had a record Knoxville Nationals last year, but right after it ended we knew something was different. It just you could just sense the room went to all business, and we're going to have to really fight to hold on to this. We felt that, we were in trouble, that there was a lot of looking elsewhere and stuff. And look, I can't speak for everyone on how it all went. This is just how our gut went. So we threw a wheelbarrow at the thing, with guarantees here and, lots and lots of money. And we lost. So after we lost that, the idea wasn't like, okay, we have this money that we were going to throw at Knoxville, let's just throw it at everything else. Brian and I made a conscious decision that we're not the smartest guys. We don't know everything, but we've been doing this long enough that we have at least a gut feeling what the market's worth and what different things are worth. And we went after other stuff. I don't want to act like we didn't, because we did, but we told ourselves we're going to go up to here, and this is where we think it's worth. Maybe we'll bump it another little bit to maybe get it, but we're not going to go crazy. And we lost several things that way. And we said, fine, we'll step back. We'll watch and see how the market goes. Either we'll be wrong and the market is worth where the new numbers have all gone, or, the market will correct and come back down, and we'll get, we can get back in. And so we did less, and I'm very grateful for what we did. Sillensgrove and Mike Hefner over there came on board. They had not done stuff before, so they trusted us. And BAPS wanted to do some more stuff with us. We did some stuff early in the year with the USCS, and we, of course, did short track and Trophy Cup like we have been doing. And we're super grateful to all those guys, for still working with us. And, so it's really hard to see, the market is really changing. A couple of years ago, I would, have never thought this is where it would have gone, and outside players coming in or other players moving in broader directions. So it's interesting, and even though to the fans we're doing less, Brian and I have really been doing a lot of work on the backside, trying to develop more B2B type work. And so we have our irons in a bunch of different fires on the B2B side, and we're certainly trying to get more races for 2020, because we would like to do as many as we can next year.
Well, Ian, I appreciate you coming on the show. Most people don't know you guys actually edit the podcast and do a great job. Ian and Brian, working with them, I've learned a lot. And like Ryan, I'm not very tech savvy. Ian, I think you can pretty much vouch for that.
Oh man!
I think anybody in the studio.
Brian, I wonder how you guys get through the podcast sometimes, Jared.
I know, but hey, I want to know how a guy from Brooklyn, New York, ends up doing sprint car stuff. That's
a whole new podcast, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, we went up to Colton Gauss from BAPS, and I went up to meet Ian, and he looks like Fabio. He has a ponytail. I picture this guy basically who looks like me, maybe a little heavier, sitting at a computer with a pocket protector. Ian looks like Fabio.
Nice.
Me growing my hair out was my midlife crisis, since I couldn't go get that Ferrari.
well, maybe depending how things shake out, maybe that Ferrari's in your future. But Ian, I want to thank you and Brian, obviously, for doing what you do for the show, and I want to thank you for coming on the show and talking about this. I know it's kind of a different topic, and I think it affects a lot of sprint car racing right now.
You guys do a great job. I mean, you guys bring a lot of insight, and you guys raise some questions, and you guys are not afraid to ask, the questions that, people are interested in hearing. So you guys are an asset, and I appreciate, giving us the opportunity to work with you too. It's a two-way street. And look, I know you probably wanted some maybe more in-depth answers about security and stuff.
Oh, no, I understand. Hey, sell that, buddy. Make sure
No, that was honestly, it's something I was going to ask you with the fact that you feel like you've got it pretty well locked down now. Is that going to open more doors back up for you guys?
Because that's true.
If I was a racetrack knowing that, hey, I don't have people jumping over the fence now to watch the races. If this was live, obviously, or if you were in person, you'd be jumping over the fence to watch the races.
Right.
Now you can lock it down and kind of prevent that. Do you feel like that's going to help you in your selling avenues?
Possibly. Possibly. I have had, informal, nothing crazy, but I have had a couple people reach out asking me about, what are you guys doing about the links? Because some people didn't even know that we had got them secure. But I don't know if that's going to mean we're going to get business or not. I mean, look, if you're going to get a lot of money from someone to do something, do you say, okay, I'll deal with, some of the free links going out, or I guess as a track owner or as a series, I think it's important, but they'll have to weigh and measure. I mean, I'm not sure if it means business for us. Like I said, there's this transcends racing. If you look, no, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. This is why you guys wanted me on, because I don't stop talking. But if the industry that not what we do, the pay-per-view, we're such a small little particle of the internet, but the e-learning and online coursework has become in a massive, massive industry. I think $100 billion industry or something like that. Most of these courses are video courses
for schools and stuff. Yeah, for schools.
Well, I'm not even talking just for schools. We're talking about like people like take like a Tony Robbins or
Okay.
Someone who has expertise in something who can help someone learn something. They create a course, or they do a live webinar where it costs $500 a head to sit in on this live webinar, or they have an online course that costs a couple $1,000s. They're all using content delivery networks to get the content out there, and every content delivery network, whether it's the ones we use or whomever, they all have security in place. But if those guys start getting the links stolen, we're on a whole different level than X amount of people watching a sprint car race. We're talking what could be thousands of people at $1,000 a clip purchases and it getting stolen. So, this is why, again, my brain started going, okay, if we can come up with maybe a piece of software that's a B2B piece of software that helps add an extra layer of security to a video embed code or any type of a link, then, there might be potential business that way further outside of just the racing industry. It's just, we get to, we work in the racing industry, we get to test it in a real world environment. But if it works in the real world environment, whether it's small or large, then it's just about scaling it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got a product for the future, Ian.
Yeah, we'll take a ride in your Ferrari when you get this done.
Yeah, we'll take we'll drive to New York. Or drive to New York. Ian.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and look, you guys have always been good to us, and we've obviously went through our ups and downs here the last 14 months, so we're happy to still be doing some work out there. And the only thing I know is we might not be doing as much, but Brian and I haven't gotten lost any of our knowledge along the way. It's just we've lost some of the races we've done, so we'll just try to take the knowledge and apply it to other stuff.
Well, you guys do a great job. Ian, thanks again for coming on the show. I'll be in touch with you probably a little later this week, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this more in the future.
And I'm sure Brian will start editing this very shortly.
That too. Ian, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me.
Yep. Bye-bye. Welcome to segment 3, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Ryan, final segment of the day. Ian was really good in segment 2. Very knowledgeable. I talked to Ian a lot, and I've learned a lot.
I'll tell you, the cool thing for me is he watered it down. He gave us we
need that.
The guy who's opening the door. Yeah. I liked it. I liked it a lot. He could be a good teacher.
Yeah,
I might be able to learn something about computers from him.
Actually, yes, he's a great guy. Him and Brian do such a great job. I know they're thorough, and I know with the show, I'm like a kindergarten kid, when it comes to this stuff. So I just appreciate their patience. But we're gonna move on to our biggest moments of the 2019 season. We put something up on SprintCarUnlimited.com yesterday early about our storylines from the year. And it got me thinking, about moments, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or whatever. So I'm going to let you go first. What was one of your biggest moments of the year?
I think one very, very positive thing for this season as opposed to last is we had no tragedies.
That's a good point.
And that's pretty big for me. So I think that's a positive step for sure in the right direction. The race cars have been cleaned up some. The racetracks have been cleaned up some, and I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. I mean, me and another guy the other day talked about NASCAR. No one's been killed in NASCAR since Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s died, I don't think. And there's barely guys don't even miss a week anymore.
No.
Like their safety has come so far. And hopefully ours can follow.
I think we do need a lot of work on racetracks yet.
Yeah,
I do
agree.
think the cars have come. Now we just need some rules changes, but that's for another show.
It's
Otherwise
not
going
going
to
to happen overnight, but I think that it was very positive
Sure.
this year that we had none that, and I may be speaking out of term here, but none that I know of.
Yeah, no, it's been good. One of mine is, I'm going to go back to the racing part. I think there's so many. I think I'm going to go more recent. Brad Sweet and Donnie Schatz racing at the end of the World Finals, coming down to the last 2, 3, 4 laps. Brad Sweet holding him off and clinching the title. He's never won one before. I just think that moment there when he crossed the line and sealed the deal, I think that's one of the biggest of the year.
I think Brad's last 2 seasons have been big stories. I mean,
I agree.
It doesn't matter what Mallet says.
Yeah, Mike Mallet from Dirt Track
Doesn't matter what
Digest.
Mallet says.
Brad Sweet's elite.
He certainly is.
I'm sure Mallet will take it back in Florida when I see him, because Mallet always takes it back.
Yeah.
But or as soon as Brad has a bad night, he'll kind of just go, he's not elite. I'm like, so
No, he's elite.
yeah, he's
elite.
He's elite. You got another one?
Maybe it's a little concerning for me is Pennsylvania got their ass kicked by the Invaders all year.
16 wins.
It's a big topic.
We didn't have to say it on Twitter. Bill, our producer, just beat the hell out of it all year.
Yeah. No, it's certainly a concern.
The question is it cyclical?
I think some of it is, yes.
Or is it a trend?
I think it can be both.
I have a feeling it's a trend. It's not an anomaly where I think you're going to see guys win again this year.
Yeah, no,
it's 2020, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're missing a little speed around here right now.
I agree. Which goes to my next one, which is Aaron Reitzel beating Lance Deweese at Tuscarora 50. Aaron Reitzel, I'm still amazed. I talked to him at Eldora at the end of the year, and he said people still don't believe in what he's doing.
What?
Yeah, I'm not shitting you.
Wow.
People say, oh, well, he's running against the All-Stars and stuff. Look, if you can win at Port Royal and beat Lance Deweese in a long-distance race, he let Lance sit. It wasn't close.
And that's Lance's bread and butter, honestly. Port Royal and long-distance races, I mean, that's tough to contend with.
But
do these same people look? Seriously, who is this guy? There must be one person.
No, they're people.
I watched the guy in the highlights run a midget.
You benefited from him,
weekend.
got dinners because of him.
Yeah. I picked Aaron Reitzel almost every time I could.
That's going to change next year.
Yeah, we're going to have to
And
do
I got to
something.
give you props.
Yeah. No.
I got to give you props. You came up with it. We're only going to
I need to make it more difficult on myself because this year wasn't very hard.
All my guys dropped out. I picked Aaron Reitzel and he blows a motor. But no, Reitzel passing to now look, he won at the Grove twice too. That was huge.
Yeah.
But winning the Tuscarora 50, I think that moment, that's something that I take away from 2018.
I'll be honest with you. For me, Reitzel winning at Port Royal is not as big a deal as Reitzel winning at Williams Grove. I mean, the Tuscarora 50 is a huge deal. But
yeah, that's
I've watched
why.
Aaron Reitzel run Port Royal for the last 3
been
years.
good.
I mean, he's been on it, just hammer down and fast.
Yeah.
Now, Williams Grove's a lot harder to come in and beat people. It takes some laps at the Grove.
But
so that's been really impressive for me.
But the difference for me is, and I know Lance would probably disagree. I think he thinks he's better at the Grove. I think he's better at Port just because of all the wins.
I think this year
he was better
at Port. I don't think and Lance, look, he's real. He'll tell you the truth.
Yeah,
and I think he'll tell you the same thing. I think they struggled a little bit from where they've been at. Not that they're terrible.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not saying that. But where they have been the last 3, however many years he's been in that car, this is probably the least dominant he's been at the Grove.
I just thought that was Aaron Reitzel. That was a huge win for him.
Oh,
I think that's his
huge
first
win.
crown jewel win,
Yeah.
50,000. He passed Lance Deweese to do it.
It's not going to be the last one.
The Grove, if the track's a certain way, you can get out front and you're not going to be touched.
No.
And I think that was a big moment. You have any more?
I think you have one written down here, and I know it's yours, but I think
No, you take it.
I think gravel winning Knoxville's huge.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
absolutely.
it's justified for David because I think David's a hell of a racer. But more, I mean, as much as that or more, JJR's done it now with 2 different drivers. I mean, I think that's phenomenal.
Do you think him? Look, I've known David Gravel's good for 5 years. I don't need this. I didn't need the Knoxville Nationals to solidify that. I saw it twice at the National Open. I've seen it countless other times. But do you think the Nationals win this year really okay?
Oh yeah. No, I
because his previous highest finish there was 10th.
Yeah, but more than that. I mean, they came in there with that big Exalta deal with Jeff
that's
Gordon.
A good point.
I mean, how much pressure? And that car's won the Nationals.
Yeah, it's true.
And last year, Macedo was in it last year and was really good in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you want to talk about some pressure? I guarantee you David Gravel felt some pressure between
That's true.
the Exalta deal, the car itself, winning before.
Right.
Oh, by the way, you might have to beat Donnie.
That guy Donnie.
Yeah. And Brad.
Yeah,
because
and
Brad had won the year before.
Yeah.
But
And by the way, Logan Schuchart.
well, no slouch.
No slouch at all. I think he could win that race. I think he could be the next guy to win that race. Another one for me is, you know, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of crap for this.
Okay.
Is
You got to tell us something today to catch some crap. You always do.
Buddy Kofoid making a last lap corner pass to win at Wayne County All-Star race. I think it just shows that he can leave California and run in an area. He had 4 wins. He led the area in wins. Or he had led the area, in top 5s and top 10s. I think that last lap pass to get his first All-Star win. I just young guys announcing themselves on the sprint car scene. I thought that was one of them.
And I think one of the this isn't definitely not a top 5 moment, but you have guys that don't have rides like Tim Schaefer and Joey Saldana and guys that have been proven for years that kind of don't really have anything going on right now. It's like, where are they going to land? It's kind of like an era. It's kind of like an era in sprint car racing. I mean, Sammy only ran what? He probably didn't run. Did he run 5 or did he run 10 wing shows?
I don't know, but sitting on the pole, the King's Royal for Sammy Swindell was a huge moment as well. I don't think anybody will forget him screaming into the microphone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one.
That was pretty animated. Sammy.
I think he had a top 10.
Yeah, I think he ended up in top 10.
But still, I thought that was a big moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's father and son team, and I mean, no, it's pretty cool for them guys.
A lot of point battles. You had the KWS battle out in California, which was real close. You had the Outlaw point battle, the SCCT.
The All-Stars wasn't a runaway?
The All-Stars didn't get out of hand until after Tuscarora 50.
AFCS was in doubt for a while.
Yep. I mean, a lot of point battles this year, and I think that point racing from a series standpoint might have had a resurgence this year. So I think that's another moment.
Yeah, I think it's a strong. I mean, just all the big ones we just talked about. They weren't really, we've had outlaw point championships decided before they leave Pennsylvania.
I agree.
I mean, so I think it was a pretty diverse year. I think we had a lot of winners with the Outlaws. A lot of 3 double digit winners was pretty big for them guys. And then you had a guy like Aaron Wright. So how many did Aaron win overall?
He had 18 overall and led the nation.
I mean, that's...
But hey, what's he done? Sat on the pole for the Knoxville Nationals, by the way.
He's probably a fluke, right? Right.
That's a good place to wrap up this edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. We'll be with you all week with more news, and obviously Thanksgiving could have some stuff going on there as far as a column. You never know. Mm-hmm. If I don't eat too much.
Fall asleep, take a nap.
It's watching football.
Oh, you're still watching the Cowboys?
They suck.
No, Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett should be
No, they got to keep him, please.
He's terrible.
Jerry's actually starting to see the light. Now I'm getting scared.
He's terrible.
Jeez. And the Redskins won?
Yeah, your quarterback took a selfie before the game was over. I love it. He didn't even get in victory formation. That's the kind of guy you like.
No, that's
Even in a win, you can't be satisfied.
I know. No, that's piss poor in my book.
It is piss poor. I agree.
mean, something. There's been no fine or nothing for that.
No, I think the Redskins probably sat on.
They better have done something.
Well, that's our NFL report for the day. Again, stay tuned to SprintCarUnlimited.com for all your racing needs. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned.